Hello. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are. This is Lady. I am back. Hello. We'll wait a few minutes and see if some more people will come on. Come on, everyone. Come one, come all. Welcome. Come join me. Today's the 5th of March, 2026. Welcome. Come one, come all. Invite some people. How is your day today? How's your night so far? How's your day? I am back. Sorry, it's been a few hours since I promised to come, but I was working on coming. Sabs, you're welcome. I'm going to do one video in English, and I may need to do another one in Acholi. But please invite all your friends from northern Uganda, people from Acholi sub-region, people from Sudan. Please tag the ICC. Please tag the international communities. Please tag the UN. Please tag the State Department. I have some crucial information that I need to share urgently. Please share, please invite Acholi brothers and sisters. This is urgent for northern Uganda, South Sudan, part of Congo. Please welcome. Thank you, Lydia. Welcome, Flor. Welcome, Alicia. Welcome. So I'll start off with where Alicia, you're welcome. Yes, finally here. Welcome everyone. My name is Lady. Today is welcome Muke. Welcome Roida. Thank you for coming. So I have some urgent information that I need to share as soon as possible. Where do we begin? I'd like to begin with northern Uganda. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you for inviting the ICC. Let's also do State Department. Anybody who can, U.S. State Department. I'm going to share this information and put it where it needs to be with the UN, the ICC, State Department. I'm going to share all of this with them as well. Welcome, Simon. But we can start. But I'm going to share all these information that I have here with State Department, with the UN, with the EU Parliament, with the ICC, and every place else it is today. Sorry, somebody called me and the network jumped off. Today is the 5th of March 2026. What I'm bringing to you is very current inside information from Museveni's government and what they plan to do to the people of Uganda, especially certain dignitaries whom they've worked with and now plan on disposing of because they share a lot of secrets or know a lot of information. Good morning, Nano. So these pertain to people who have worked with the government of Museveni, and he wants to do away with them because he knows that they can be used as weapons to provide information and detail on how he's been running his dirty government, and also the plans that he has to tear down parts of Uganda, kill people, destroy communities, and do other things dangerous to Ugandans. I would like to start with northern Uganda. So because Museveni has failed in Congo and trying to break up Congo, this I'm speaking about Museveni and Kagame, their names go together. You know, whatever Museveni is doing, Kagame is aware or is doing as well. So because all of their efforts have failed to take over Congo, they are now trying to move over to take over to cut off a part of Congo, a part of South Sudan, and a part of northern Uganda, and designate it their monarchy, where they will keep their animals, and Museveni and Kagame can move their livelihood to that region or that location. So, and this is planned from inside of high secret meetings with Kagame, Museveni, and his people. Their plan is to create or cause war in northern Uganda, southern Sudan, and part of Congo. Despite President Trump putting sanctions on Kagame and some of his officials, in fact, one of the people who was sanctioned in the M23 group is actually Museveni's biological son. Is Museveni's biological son, who works for the M23 government, and he was part of the people who was sanctioned by the U.S. State Department or the U.S. government. He's called Luki or Ruki. There's a long name that he has that I'm going to post on my Facebook page eventually. If I find it here, I will give it to you, but I want to get this message out before it's a little bit late today, okay? So what they want to do in that region, Salva Kiir has been informed about this. It's going to be a massacre worse than the 1994 genocide of Rwanda. And it's also going to be worse than the supposed LRA war. Museveni wants to bring war back in the Acholi sub-region, especially the most northern part of the Acholi region. He's going to kill a lot of Acholis worse than they were, or worse than he did during the purported LRA war. Okay? It's going to be worse than the Rwandese genocide of 1994. Salva Kiir is very compromised, you know, health-wise, he's really doing poorly. He also lacks support. Salva Kiir is actually guarded by Museveni's army, the NRM, the UPDF, because Salva Kiir lacks support and is not trusted. He doesn't trust a lot of his people from South Sudan to protect him. So because Museveni runs South Sudan with the help of Salva Kiir as a placeholder, Museveni is now diverting what he's doing into taking over, cutting a region and making it a republic of theirs. Him and Kagame, they're looking for a place to send their cattle so that they can set up location or a republic of both Rwanda and Uganda and Museveni. So both Museveni and Kagame are part of this deal. Okay. As I mentioned, it's going to be worse than the LRA war. They're going to kill just about anything that has life. It's an operation that they're going to kill anything living in that region so that they can start afresh. And he's going to start moving his cattle there once they have cleared or have been proven that by the people that it's clear. Which people are going to be in this operation? You know, the people that were sanctioned, the M23 people that were sanctioned, and the army that melted among the Congolese people, and the ones who are now wearing UPDF uniform, pretending to be UPDF but are still M23 for fear of losing their lives, are the main people coming to kill people in parts of northern Uganda, okay, parts of Sudan, southmost part of Sudan, and also part of Congo, to create a republic or sort of monarch where Museveni and Kagame will move their livelihood and start some sort of monarchy away from Uganda and to try to cut off from the public eye, from the Western public eye or the stage. Okay, they want their own federal state or monarch. They will also bring their animals to live there. Tweet this, share this. This is very important for the people of northern Uganda, the people of southmost Sudan, and people of parts of Congo that aligns with that region. These people are planning. This is a very high stake meeting where they talked about this. So it is important. It is crucial. It is vital that we share this information. I'm getting it out to State Department. I'm getting this out to the ICC. I'm getting this out to where it matters. EU Parliament will get informed about this as well. So that's about South Sudan, Congo, and Uganda. It's going to be operated by the same M23 people who were chased away from Congo, part of the ones who are sanctioned, who are very angry at Uganda for being successful in getting them rid in Congo area. Okay. My next thing here is Museveni is still looking for legitimacy, obviously. He's very, very worried of sanctions coming down the pipeline. He knows they're coming. He's worried about that. The other thing that is very crucial that he's worried about is the fact that he cannot get a handle on where His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is. With those efforts, here is the plan that they have to try to get him legitimate. Okay, this plan that they're developing or have developed includes trying to figure out how to get His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu back on the radar. They're sure that he may be in the country, but just in case he's not in the country, they want to use Secretary General Louis Rubongoya and also Lope Joel Senyonyi to try to woo him to come back into the country. In this plan, NTV executive, NBS executives, and the Interreligious Council are aware. They've already been informed. After the fact that when they move on with this plan or their deal to try to get Museveni to look legitimate, they're also going to inform the Kasukus. Those youths, or Kasuku and his group, the YouTubers and TikTokers and all of those who went to see Museveni at his Chisozi ranch, are going to be informed afterwards. They can't inform them now because they talk too much, and as you know, their heart is not there. Even if these people are invited to go and see Museveni and this, that, and the other, it does not mean that they're sold on giving away their country. Many Ugandans have Uganda at heart. Okay? Despite what Museveni wants them to do, they have a feeling. Like I said, this revolution is organic, is from the heart. It is not about somebody pushing somebody. It's how you feel. Okay? Look at me. I live this far. I don't face the struggles personally, okay? In Uganda, I don't. But in my heart, I have a calling that I don't rest well if I've not done what is in my heart to do. So an organic revolution is this one that we're going through right now. We want it, we love it, we care for it. Despite the fact that the dictator tries to pull us left and right, it doesn't mean anything. So even if those people went to see him at State House, it doesn't mean they're completely 100% sold. So they'll bring them in later to inform them of these and how they need to operate. Remember, that is now a corner or a group of people that Museveni is going to dangle and use as he wishes, okay? So here's what they plan with that. Because he's worried about sanctions and things coming down the pipeline, Museveni wants to look like he's going to do things amicably, like he's going to do things the right way. So, because he cannot no longer hoodwink the Western world because of so much exposure and what we have done, we have literally undressed Museveni, okay? He has no place to hide. The Interreligious Council and Museveni have opened Bank of Uganda and taken all monies or all assets available to them. The reason being is that they want to use this to try to get to or to offer whatever, anything that Louis Ruwongoya will ask for, or Joel Senyonyi, or anybody who they can use to try to get to His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. But listen to this. Byabakama is involved in this deal. So what is Byabakama going to do? In fact, he's the lead architect of this whole plan. So Byabakama all of a sudden is going to come out and say, you know what, I was joking, I'm sorry. When I pronounced the election results, I was under pressure to release results immediately. But in the meantime, somebody tampered with technology, and so the results were interrupted, and I ended up giving His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Museveni's results, and I gave Museveni His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's results. Okay, so he's going to come out as if he looks legitimate and to say, you know what, I made a mistake, but now that, because as you remember, Byabakama has never released actual documentation to prove that results went a certain way. So in his defense of not having that documentation, he's going to claim he was under pressure to have to release those sooner than before. Okay, so after those results are released officially, he'll come out and say, oh yeah, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu won by 71%, as he had said that it was Bobi Wine's, Museveni's results. Eventually, the Interreligious Council, which is already informed about this, in fact, they've already been paid to actually perform on this issue. They're going to come out and say, and seek his SG, which is Louis Ruwongoya, and also try to access Lope, who is Joel Senyonyi, and ask them if there's anything they want and name the amount. Whatever they want, they're going to give them. And say, just go ahead. We've already announced, we've pronounced Bobi Wine the winner. His Excellency is the winner. So go ahead and invite him, have him come out, and you know, he has won the election. All Ugandans will go into jubilation. We are all happy. Our president has finally taken this thing. So they will, with the awards that they'll give His Excellency, with the awards they'll give Lope and SG, they will then find a way to reach His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to pronounce him winner. Okay? After Byabakama will say, you know, the technology was tampered with, he was not allowed to report correctly, and the correct results. The UPDF will also come out and say, you know, our job is to protect the presidency, so it doesn't matter who is going to be president, we are going to protect whoever it is. Eventually, they'll give Bobi Wine the security detail that he, you know, supposedly deserves as a president of a nation, and also the Interreligious Council will start talking to his to Joel Senyonyi and Louis Ruwongoya about, you know, transition and how things should be and all of that. Then eventually the Kasukus will come in, the TikTokers. They'll be informed about, you know, the winning, the updates, and that Bobi Wine or His Excellency is now the president. After they've gotten him out, okay? After His Excellency comes out, they then will, Museveni and his team will go ahead and file a motion to disagree with the results. Remember, he does own the judiciary. He does own every part of, you know, he basically strokes the strings of Byabakama. He's in charge or entitled and is above all these people, but he's going to make them act like they're not on his side. Okay? Museveni will then file a motion in court saying that indeed he disagrees with the results, and yet this plan, they're all in it, you know? This is how Museveni has run Uganda for all this while. He has acted a certain way and come out and acted the other way. Museveni is both the left and the right hand in every aspect of life in Uganda. There is no legitimate body or party that does things without the consult or without the ruling of Museveni. So anyway, that's their plan. Once Kyagulanyi has been pronounced winner by the mouth of Byabakama as the EC of Electoral Commission, Museveni, Chiriowa Chiwanuka, Karujire, Bijirimana, Kalemani, they'll file that motion. And what they really want to use as their main issue or reasoning for this being illegitimate is the fact that the biometric system were used. Remember, Museveni was the president at the time. Museveni ordered the use of biometrics. Museveni got money from parliament to buy biometrics. This shows you how these people have been playing with our mind. So despite the fact that him in his presidency paid for these biometrics, trained Byabakama team on how to operate biometric systems, and the systems failed on the day of elections, he's going to go to court and try to fight those facts and be against the use of biometrics. Okay? And then, after they filed the motion, guess who is going to preside or decide on the results? In the same judiciary panel where Nzeija, Karujire, Bijirimana, Kalemani all exist as appointees of Museveni. Okay? Those appointed judicial panel of Museveni will be the ones to make a decision or propose the direction that this goes. And what are their proposals? There will be one of these three. Because it will be Bobby Wine or His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu against their president, because Karujire is Museveni's attorney, Chiriwa Chiwanuka is Attorney General appointed by Museveni, Kalemani is a lawyer or is an attorney, I think is appointed by Museveni too, and so is Bijirimana. And then Nzeija is the Chief Justice appointed and sworn in at Chisozi on Museveni's compound by Museveni. Those are the people who are going to propose a way forward. Isn't that crazy? Lots of drama. So when they propose, there's going to be three possible resolutions. One of them will be dialogue. They will say, no. The courts don't have money. The courts don't have the manpower. The courts don't have enough power to be able to execute on this matter. So what we're going to propose is that you go and have a dialogue. Both His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, which is the new party, go and have a dialogue with NRM or NRM or led by Museveni. And then who is Museveni's attorney? Karujire. You see this mess? And who is the Attorney General on the side of the state? Chiriwa Chiwanuka. If that is not an option, they are going to say, okay, the next proposition for you or best possible proposition is that the government, that you both have a government of national unity. This is what Museveni dreams about. To be able to catch Bobby Wine or His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and have him run a government with him is Museveni's perfect scenario. The fact that His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is nowhere to be found is an itch in his throat that he can't scratch. So that's a second proposition. The third proposition will be a re-election, which is the most formidable for most Ugandans if this doesn't get handed down the right way. Okay? If Bobby Wine or His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu does not take over his position as it should, a re-election is something they can hear. Ugandans can listen to. Okay? Because we know the results will be even better. Even more than 71% Bobby Wine will win by. But anyways, so let's say it goes into dialogue or re-election or a government of national unity. The big idea here is that Museveni will then plan the assassination of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and deal with the consequences. Two of the people who wish his death the most are Muhoozi and Salim Saleh. They wish Kyagulanyi does not exist. In fact, Kagame has been heard saying, why has Museveni failed to assassinate this guy like he does his people? You know, none of the opponents of Kagame survive, whether you live in the country or not. None of them live to see another day. die in prison, die mysteriously, die from abroad, die from whatever, but they don't exist. That's why Kagame wins by 98%. 98 meaning that he can write a number on, you know, when you used to be in school and you write a note on a paper and you give it to somebody to pass to the next person, Kagame literally writes a number and that's what they pronounce. For a long time, Rwanda has been seen as a peaceful country or a country of this, that, and the other. A lot of the Western, I think even the Duchess and Prince William, the Duchess, the one who lives there, the American one, and the Prince even went and visited there. For a long time, Rwanda was the appropriate country. But until these sanctions, the veil is off everyone's eyes. So we know, and everyone is aware, that Rwanda is one of the terrorist countries there is. Terrorist in the sense of the president of Rwanda, Kagame, being one of the worst living presidents ever. Him and Museveni together. That's why Museveni says if they are sanctioning Rwanda, they're looking for him. Like the saying goes, when you beat a dog, you're looking for the owner in the neighborhood. I grew up in Nakawa, so I know what that means. Anyways, so then they will assassinate His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and deal with the consequences. They want Kyagulanyi Ssentamu back on the radar. Museveni is afraid even when if he goes ahead and swears in, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu will not nominate a leader of opposition. And that means there's no government in Uganda. Museveni cannot exist without an opposition, without a leader of opposition. And NUP has the most elected opposition members, therefore is a legitimate party to appoint a leader of opposition. Okay? So his worries are endless. But that's a plan of theirs. I'm just saying so that we know, and we know what to deal with it. When you see signs like this, you know what it means. Okay? The other thing I want to talk about is Nabanja. I understand she's killing a lot of people in Bunyoro because they never voted for her. There's pictures and videos that are coming out of people who have been, you know, cut with machetes. Some have been killed. It is also known that Nabanja is the one who killed the wife of, killed Mrs. Chibalama, because one time in Parliament, Nabanja said she has Mr. Chibalama. And till to date, she has never declared where Mr. Chibalama is. Obviously, that is why Museveni appoints people like that who are very stupid, who don't know consequences of what their utterances can do for them or to them. So anyways, so Nabanja is doing that in areas of Bunyoro. I have some videos, I have some photos that I'm going to share with the areas that matter. State Department, we're still filing. More files are being taken in by the EU Parliament. More files being taken by the ICC. So feel free to send those. Thank you for all of you that have sent me videos or messages about what's going on. What we need is actual evidence, live evidence, documented evidence, so that we can share appropriately. Make sure you add the names of the individuals doing certain things. Take pictures, take uniform pictures, take their labels, pictures on their shirts or uniforms or whatever. Take license plates, take whatever we can pin them onto whoever is doing what we are saying they're doing. Okay. Next is Anita Among. Museveni came out and said that he's endorsing Anita Among and Tayebwa. That is obvious. Like I said, Museveni is the right hand and the left hand as well. He's a mafia. You will never know what he's doing unless you open your eyes and ears. Just like he has fooled a lot of people, and Ugandans, we have woken up after so many years of this guy just doing stuff like this. He's acting like he has endorsed Anita Among, but Museveni is done with Anita Among because Anita Among cannot travel. If you notice, in the last few years when Mao came to his government, Mao has been the one performing foreign missions or foreign duties of the speaker and Anita and the government. Museveni has freely sent Mao to different places like Geneva and so on and so forth, where a speaker would have had to go. So even if it looks like Anita Among is being endorsed, she's definitely not going to be the Speaker of Parliament, because they are also planning or trying to award a Choli sub-region with one of their sons or daughters being in those high offices. And so far they've talked about having Mao, who's one of their children, in office. So that's bound to happen. Forget about the appointment or the endorsement by Museveni. Ministers of Uganda. So Museveni is upset about ministers traveling back and forth. He's wondering what they're doing. What are they going to do? He's calling them one by one to discuss why are they going out of the country so much. And because his government is lacking funds now, they're not going to be allowed to travel as much anymore. Not anymore. My next alert is about the Vatican. Museveni wrote a letter or sent an envoy to go and visit Pope Leo at the Vatican. Why? Because Museveni is asking to meet with Pope Leo by himself to try to front Natasha to become the next president of Uganda. So he wants to go with Natasha to meet the Pope for a photo op, you know, a picture with the Pope, so that it can be shared all over Uganda, especially in the Catholic Church, to try to win the Catholic Church back to him. So the Pope, I understand that that invitation was denied. So they said no to Museveni. He's not going to meet the Pope. And so he has now decided to figure out how he can send Muhoozi and Natasha instead, because the Pope rejected him, and Museveni knows that the Pope must have rejected the invitation because of him being involved, because nobody now wants to be seen with Museveni. Okay, he's one of those people who have become bare in the whole world, that they know how evil he is and how he operates, that if you associate with Museveni, you are risking losing credibility. Sorry about that. All this documentation that keeps coming listing their names reduces their credibility. Even if she has been to the Vatican a few times, it doesn't mean that she stays clean. And besides, she met the previous Pope, and now we have a new Pope in the Vatican. Okay. Next, I'm going to talk about Kasenyi, the SFC place where they have the fridge. Remember those two Kenyan supporters of who came to support Noop or Bobby Wine during the campaigns, the ones who were detained, who were taken and detained by the SFC. They talk about a fridge. So this fridge is actually located in Kasenyi. It's an SFC torture center or torture location. So that fridge in Kasenyi has 8 dead bodies. 8 people are dead and are being stored in Kasenyi in that SFC fridge. The fridge that's described. They say 4 of those people are Ugandans. 4 of the dead men that are in the Kasenyi SFC fridge are Ugandan. 1 of them is Kenyan. 2 of them are Nigerian. And 1 is a white, possibly European or somebody of Western descent. 4 are Ugandan, 1 Kenyan, 1 Nigerian, and 1 white. So to say, somebody from the Western world, possibly the Americans. Hello, Kasim. These people died because Muhoozi Kainerugaba said, do not give them food. These 8 people who have died in Kasenyi torture chambers they were starved to death. How sick is that? Tweet this. Share this. 8 people who have been found dead in the fridge in Kasenyi SFC torture chamber were starved to death. Can you imagine? Yes, Floor, yes, it was Bob Njagi. Let him know, because when Bob was there and he was speaking, I watched one of his interviews. Bob said there were 2 Nigerians, or there were some Nigerians, so I don't know which one it could be. And he may know the Kenyan person who they're saying that that's one of the people, the deceased people that are being held over there. We don't know if these people are going to be buried and where, or if they're going to be leached in acid, when, or they're going to be buried in mass graves. Whatever we can get our hands on, we will, and share it with you. So far, they're still in that fridge in Kasenyi. And Muhoozi personally ordered these people not to be fed by the SFC people until they died. So they died of hunger. We'll update you on what we find out. My last alert for today, or maybe not. In the barracks, the military barracks of Makindye, Bombo, Mbuya, apparently SFCs have started to be moved in. Many of you who have relatives in barracks, you can find out they're moving in SFC soldiers with their own uniports. So they're not mixing entirely with the people in those barracks, which are mostly Ugandans. Museveni believes that Ugandan army or soldiers have been able to successfully hide Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He believes that they were the ones who paid. Remember, there is a receipt of donations from the military that is signed from the army. And Museveni has never been able to figure out which people actually donated to a NUP fundraiser. And so it upsets him. So SFCs are now moving in. All these barracks have SFCs who have been moved in there. And with the claim that their barracks claiming that in Nsamize, where the barracks of the SFC is under construction. I understand that is not true. They're just trying to create a takeover, to cast a net underneath for SFCs to enter and infiltrate all barracks. Eventually, they're going to start killing indigenous Ugandans who are in the military, you know, those who are living there. And also, they have also paused all movements in the barracks. So you can't go and visit anybody in the barracks. Neither can people from the barracks, like the wives and family members who live with a military person in the barracks, cannot go out of the barracks just anyhow. There's restrictions on movement everywhere. Commanders will also be changed to be SFCs from now on. So Ugandans are going to be demoted severely. And one by one, they are going to start to lose their lives. You know, as much as they don't document things that happen on the streets, imagine things that will happen in the barracks, within the barracks. If we don't have our contacts in there, we will never know what happened to whom. So many Ugandan military have died in Congo. So many. And there is no documentation because nobody's brought back home for a decent burial. And because they're playing games, you know, our people suffer in the meantime. But we don't know for a fact how many people have died when. I talked to you about a bridge on the express highway where they just drop people, dead people. You know, for example, these people who are in the fridge who are dead, it's possible that they'll drop them over there on the highway, in the swamp, the express highway along Entebbe Road, where they have dropped a lot of dead people. We don't have enough documentation to prove who is where. And because Ugandans are so fearful now, it is even hard for you to come out and say, I've lost someone. Because then they start targeting you next because you're talking. So, you know, the advice to military Ugandans is that be very, very careful. In fact, Nakasongola barracks is now like Rwanda. Most of the military there are Rwandese. Okay? And because of that donation, so they're going to start killing them. Ugandan military do not just mix with these Rwandese SFCs. They're there to seek information. They're there to find out who is doing what. And they're also there to do away with you. So try not to eat together with them or drink with them, especially alcohol. Because you never know when you're compromised how much they can do with you or with you. Okay? So try to walk in groups or in pairs or more so that you have an eyewitness who can tell your family or tell us what's going on. Okay? My next and last thing here is Wangadia. They are celebrating that Wangadia is soon going to drop with a cardiac arrest or a blood clot. That means they have already done something to Wangadia. Wangadia is the I think she's the executive of the human rights whatever in Uganda. Okay, Museveni feels like Wangadia is very weak and that Wangadia knows a lot of dirt that he has done, things that he has said, orders that he has made, transcripts that he has made Wangadia file or report about what is happening to Ugandans regarding human rights violations every time they have a question. He knows that Wangadia is already probably talking to people like the ICC because she's the right person to be questioned. So Wangadia, anytime from now, will lose her life. It is possible that she has already been given something because they're confident that any time from now, could be tonight, could be tomorrow, could be next week, she will suffer a cardiac arrest or a blood clot. Museveni says that she's not smart or brilliant. She's very stupid. And so when they speak with her or scare her just a little bit, she will speak. Okay? I'm going to need to do a video in Acholi about the Southern Sudan and Northern Uganda massacre that Museveni is planning. So I will head out, but I will be back. So my dear people, I will love you and leave you. But we'll be in touch again tomorrow. Please share, please tweet, please share this as much as possible. Northern Ugandans, Acholi, South Sudan or South Sudanese, please pass the message on. Tweet this. I'm going to share this. This has already gone to the State Department. I've already sent this to the ICC. I've also sent this to the EU Parliament. So let's work together. Let's keep working together. We're almost there. We want our legitimate president, but we want him in the right way, not the way Museveni wants to force it. It has to come naturally, and it's coming. I love you all. Take good care. Bye-bye. Hello. Bear boy ba. Ha boy. I don't need to kong. I walk on online man knock. Ki lock mo man knock. Message man knock ma tutwala mero twalne bot jogangwa. Joma ki I region me Northern Uganda. Joma ki South Sudan. South Sudan or wadi me lobo ma South Sudanese ne ke come or wengi. And then Joma kane ma lock eni kwaroge ena Joma ki Bud Congo manotie urwata ki tung bot and South Sudan unyo tung Northern Uganda Kenya. Tien nendwe bit bedwa dek mwakali bareo kipiro Michel. Anya Amo, Lady Winnie, Paul Danama Aki, Northern Uganda, Ngeo and Machalo, Latin Pajo, Latin Acholi, Babana, Geri Mamana Wang Aki, Acholi Sub-Region, and Kombetisha on Aberi America, and Toko Maberi Maboni, Chunya Tipajo, Amaru Gandida. Amar Jogangwa, Amar Dano Wang, actually, Anna Mar Dano, let's just say. Mar Dano did that. Doc Pole Papa Kinge, Papa ni Amar Manaloy Matno. Pianana Don, Mana Don, Keda Don, Kinyalai, Northern Uganda, Ento, Adon, Kampala, Tungnakao, Kenyu Kedare, Watobi Mete, Kikwan, Madame Mete, Warokan, Komberichana, T, America. Ana tie ki message ma miero chwalone bot Joma particular Joma beru tutwale I region me kikomana I region me Acholi Joma ti tung Sudan South Sudan ki Joma a ki tung Congo an ano lok ma ki bot Komberi gamente matie makiluoni gamente pa Museveni tema go planning me temune I lobo ma tunka ma ana wachiwoni uberu tema chilo deda dok tema ageno ni miara katekere a wachiwu pien romo konyo dana di moni pien loka pe lok mabe ke kuma nak. Okay. I take a distraction man nak lo te on tiga gula kan. Bere ko bana kira enno. Right? Yeah. So anyway, gamente kuberi chawani, gamente kwa Museveni, tie ki akala me kwoge, pegi nyeyo ka giramo giramo mede Uganda, unyo umiera gi koporo, unyo ginong kaberi manyan, unyo gimede ki beru ki tek wija deda Uganda Kenya pian ko beri chani jo ma beru ka lupu lok matika katiki Uganda maluwu ki ye ma okaro en nendo par bit me do machele ye en po war mabe pian kui ki kwala deda kui pa opposition ki kwala deda wa katete bene an atwa opposition pian pa tamoni Museveni ke kana idong we tiu loyo cho nyo mon weng me Uganda madong ni omiera dong pe dong keo lake ki chie nano pa gano ni Museveni dong down ma we tiu loyo dok pa gano ni we Museveni miero ti pi one no wengi lobo Uganda down a million piera bit we are chel kolo pa gano ni Museveni mana mo ka piera ngwen ma endo beri lochi ena ke kana we ti unyo ena irba ori endo en mero berike la benaka onyo kel bode muhozi unyo man ko bedi chanti tamni mirakel nyare Natasha ento kitabiti tibuni jamne futek ire yen lobo ma wako ko bedi chani lobo ma chalo lobo mi America lobo ma UK gi Europe gi area me Europe gini lok ma jeme ma tim chilu ma timme inge ikar ma kui beru kere inge kui ma kui beno no pia o tim ma Museveni o teme kom down ma chi Uganda so beru tim ma chile deda ma lok ene tika what ke kore kom beri chawani gamente gi me Europe ma ke luoni European Parliament o beru ki meeting ki Parliament maguberu kanyamo kori lok pi tema Museveni ubera temo kere dano kita wana ma dano wakiye wakuberi chani tutwale dano matie I region me Central Kenya mogo Western mogo Eastern why Northern Uganda benetie dano makwogi urwenyo dano ma urwenya ma ko kama gucheri peke duanta dano unu ne an bobi wan beru utamo bino gulu Kenya ka arme election ki riema deda ma ke poru jo group cha ma kwanya pe jame no mo beru ka temeni wenke beru ka recording ko bedi chani wan wati wa okan wati ka chwalu lok kita lok mi what kere I organization ma do ma loy lo poro weng ma lok eni kitika nwa ngna deda evidence bane chaden metimo me eguni ku bedi chani kitika gor ki ka chel chwalu ne bane bonga en jo ma loy lobo tutwale jo ma loy jo ma chwalo mami ma poko chene me kon I lobo ma pat we will po karma elare lwen pa elare do ber tega de da madan ber kam we will po US dancehall US aid gi organization eguni ma kelu cham kelu kon mi kon merki lobo ma pari en Museveni bene ma chalo gamente me Uganda uber kanongo jame enoni en to kumbedi chawani dong pian pingliera de da Museveni peti anong chana mo ke me kon ki kamo ki lobo eguni pian ki ngeo ni en do to tonde da dok bena wunu ngeni Museveni po beru dan ma aki Uganda Museveni beru ria yela ma kelwon refugee mago pino yang magaria yela I lobo gi Rwanda kacha mago beru ka tonga de da genocide me Rwanda wunu ngeo ben genocide en ke 1994 NIA genocide ma wan mangeyo pole ento wana yang chon huto gene tusi guber katonge manna lwen peke ki bojone so gurriya yela gubieno don gudonye I lo ma pat Museveni ki grupe gubieno gudonye Uganda madong gidonye Uganda dong gena do ber ka donye wigi mod ena ye nongo ni yupo yo meneno ni giloko Uganda do doko megi pedok ni gen gibieno ki kabere mabea ye ki jo ma aki Uganda ko tim ki tampa Museveni gi ki jo pa Museveni gi Gin tam gitieni Uganda miero dok megi enjo aki Rwanda ni. Miero ben megi machalo gangi. Miero gi chakegi manyen weko chaki lodge pa Museveni. O dago luote dago wore dago mare. Iyonge dago komberichane ke chako loka nyaka ni Natasha ni. Ento no ni wota muhozi benadare o gam kibot wone diri maja. Madong ni wandong wanoni tutwale generation enini. Wanoni eni dong petiu pian dano Ugandans magiriak ma wigi tiu duata. Pole mere dong kidnero en Museveni gi eno. Gunero dong pol down ma wigi magi yene jo ma romotela ma aki Northern Uganda. Ma Museveni gi don nero duata. Eni wun record ma wunu ngeyo. Chidong kuberi chawani ya pian ikara mo karangej manok Museveni gi no beri Congo. Butemo muko Congo wegilo en ka mo mati pat a Congo mo wego dok megi en ka madong minerals gold ki ngongo gi lonye me telom duan ya dani en no gi mete gi kwan gi muko ki kano twere en tok berichani Americans do donyo ga ye madongu no ni lobal madon mati Congo en ay Museveni gene Kagame so ku berichawani dong Uganda dong pe bete Rwanda be dong pe bete pian Rwanda kimini gi gena kilwoni sanctions oberu pod ma kimi bodjo ma kwan yelu ko pa dano ma wono jo mo kenne neno dano chalu winyiti water Museveni money bene tie any organization ma kilwoni M23 wunu ber ka winyine mapola ta M23 ni oberu monpa Museveni gene Kagame monye ene gengi or we ko temtem madon kamo ken wa Kampala Kenya won boro wini M23 obieno chelo dano kono wini M23 ko chelo Kenya ko M23 ti Congo mono ye military gene rebel group mamegi ineno mana yang Museveni ena ye chia chuch dok ena ye chia chambene piani Museveni bino goyu ka dok dugu ga koket bu bene ineno we jaman dok raj mo ba kuno ena yo bino goyu so pikar madong lach manaka Museveni ubin kuone enu bino poru matek in we pour down maki bino maki koki ngolo doggi koki ngolo yitgi ki ngolo mono Museveni bino temo kada kacha kardo karmanok bino ena da koket bu neno o beru kati mujib makumeno wanga pola deda ku beri chawani dong ena dong wanong we wado chako dok cheno we kara pingo gine ni makitemu ka enini beru chal ki machani beno dak chal ki mani moteme ka chani ena bino ni la tela moni ni achela yetieba ena la tela ena or down kwa Northern Uganda ena beru tie karmen don luero ni utemu ko timerne I karma down one Kitwamba I Western Uganda teme beru rom pingo I karma Museveni ti lodge ena jemi ma roma teme ka weng ineno pingo jemi ani po beru katime karpa ubora gyangagi baby when ni down ko kunti camp ko down mon ke pien manu no gang Uganda gang uborege nyo ganga Idi Amin Uganda pero mo da wono down ma da ko karo koni enini ma Museveni temu pian en pe oberu down ma annually me Uganda dok ben pe paro ineno temu dong me agiki pian en mero interest gi en ko do win man ba gine ni ngat matwar tweeting u sharing o ma bed da u twa lock enini far and wide pian gine ni ko por gang we down tomorrow luendo rama cholero luen elare rama cholero en jo ma yanki wani o jongi ko biro kwalo diangi u ber Museveni gi kara ko nen pian pingo refugee ma bin wala bom wa chwata me rokone wala bon chate komberi chani refugee ene don't loy dian o wang Uganda manyiro ni dian padando charkwe ineno kare dian bir ber ki kwanyo nyo dian rwen nyo jong kwan dian komberi chani yo jong kacha dian berape ento dian ti bodnga Museveni gi so timba Museveni manaka yang uberu rom to weng ma shilu ma dime ka wengi uberu weng Museveni pian wai kar ma Museveni doni lot kitu giboro kar ko borgi kar pa mingi jana ni luwumgi weng timpa Museveni neno endo wando ngwi wa podo ngwa kede tamo do edwa tepa ngej iponi adada eneni timeni ni toba ngara cheli puti lot ba pingo jomine peloke so plan madok gitikere manyen ena yeni Museveni dongu no ni Congo dong petwere dok bene guno ni Rwanda dong kuperichani lobo weng tika neno Rwanda chalu terrorist organization Kagame kuperichani buri Uganda pien Rwanda dong pe bete ngini cha moye ken kibi ola ko kita kitia temo kere jo mati Iran neno so Kagame monye weng kimi sanction pien dong branding geno terrorist mon mukene madoki no ni gen bene tie gene ma Dante thank you mon mukene ma jo mukene ma kino ni dok dan ma raja dada en jo M23 endo M23 ni weng me Kagame dok la deep M23 wota Museveni remo kikome tie trainer pa M23 i Congo so guno ni dong ni gene kunu do bete dok bene lobo weng dong tika kwero gioko Gien madong plan magutam ni dong gibin kere wun winba au tweeting enini gien enini Salva Kiir ngeyu pien Salva Kiir wunu ngeni gamente ne benati atata Museveni ayeti ka chui gamente pa Salva Kiir en mi Salva Kiir uberi gamente pien Salva Kiir uberi tata dok ben pero mkwero oda moy ken pien Salva Kiir kumbere chane gubu ne bero pere machalo dana Salva Kiir tiu ki tuo combination na do well ti weak manyu to Salva Kiir gimoy kana Museveni waju do be ye pien ko perichani and UPDF ay bedak tika guarding and so kay go Congo ko perichani ti free and to gene su Kenya I ching Ruto ti gamente ma Museveni ay ndo tika managing Rwanda Museveni ay managing Congo furunga yanga Tanzania gena itika managing Suluhu daho mati kununi Museveni ay okonyo pien en karma gamente ne berti abolu kuini danu tonge makuperi chawani Suluhu benati liero maroma ki liero pa Museveni kumperi chawani so gin madongu no ni mergi team ena ginong yo me ngunu South Sudan ki med ki Northern Uganda kada guchi med ki pat me Congo magiromu luopne ka achel we gi yu lobo gi ineno man ni plan mati Kagame Museveni Salva Kiir gen metigi Salva Kiir mena ye piandong peram kwerne ento interest ni enini ena Kagame gen Museveni gi metigi nong ka portion mati South Sudan Northern Uganda ki Congo where good dog good gene good mono udok megi kilwani republic gen giti ayenyo kama gira muteri yediangi giti ayenyo kama gira mu weko lako ne udok gamente gi gimete be gimi ki kaberiani nying ma megi kita gen igi mero kere neno ma gina gube temo ena ye enjo ma ki sanction gi mon pa M23 ma lobo wengdo kwero gioni Giena yabo bin katemu mission eni. Awi nyigu wa go beto gube nego tek gimoy kana kwa a region enuni. Kwa luangi, kwa dano, kwa le, kwa ngo. Jami weng gimoy ken makwa a region eni adek mawa South Sudan, Uganda, unyo Congo ni. Kwa ne oberwen. Man gin maki wachi a sharing adeda. Pien plan gitie di gine ni dongumo kakoti wigi. Inano. So we sharing loka in adada. Go why any double loyal LRA war, Madame Tamni Gendongi very loin to twali. Any ni magin birieni oboloyo genocide mote me Rwanda in 1994 ni. Ma we will poke like it talk at the down Rwandese ma war Lake Victoria when loka kwa kiremoni. Go why any dongube bino dongube tiako tek gimo keken makwo a region enini. Oboloyo LRA war. Or be loyal genocide Monte May 1994 ni. Ineno. Or be loyal coin loin pa konye. Pien gi mete gi lock ka bedo enni o dok megi dok gi bet ki ka bedo magiromo kwat ye diangi pien gi en lo kwat kwo kwat bedo wai kar majong. So by force gi mete gi taking over gi kwan ngom kaka enini madano boto adeda dano mati region enuni au chwalu message enini god dano mati e kin gang kachani dano mati kai tiki access mechwalu ne kama ni dan rom benefiting please uchwal any atim as a matter of emergency uchwal messages enini wek dan wek dan yupe bene yan jone kapo lwenya kwa wapo be beru mabe gimeti gitiek wako wek Uganda dok megi neno. So ana foededa au tamni enini mira chwal bene kileba choli nene na timu kile mono. So au sharing dire daga duogo kimukane ento ugwake au chwalu message ana maru wadeda afoy matek ubed mabe. Love you and leave you. Bye. Hello. Hi everyone. How are you doing today? I hope you're well. My name is Lady. I am back so we can chat a little bit. I have a few updates, maybe lots. It's been a few days since I was last here, so I have a lot to share. Many of my colleagues have already shared quite a bit, but I also want to shed some light and update you on what's happening in Uganda in regards to the political climate, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, and obviously Museveni's shenanigans. So today is the 3rd of March 2026, and I have a few security alerts. I have some advice, some recommendations, some things that are happening in Uganda at the moment. So I hope you have some time to share. I'll try to be as brief as possible on each item because I have quite a few items. Give me just a second. I might have to turn off the car. Okay. I don't know if the sound is in here, but I don't want anything to interrupt what we're doing right now. Can you hear me well? Everything go okay? All right, so as you know, Museveni is still struggling to find His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Reports indicate that he has brought in a lot of equipment from countries to try to find him using technology or have experts who can track him, because he knows for sure that Bobi Wine is in Uganda. He believes that he has not left the country despite arguments about him either being in or out of the country. He also suspects that he's in the American embassy, which is a place that he had planned to attack. Recently, I've put 2 posts where he vehemently says he's going to bomb the United States embassy in Uganda, in Kampala, because he suspects that Bobi Wine is being kept and held in that place. So leave that to him to try to cause some trouble, because he knows what will come if he attempts to attack the embassy. But Museveni believes the gun solves everything. But let's see how that goes. So that military equipment, or the equipments that have been brought to look for Bobi Wine, have been stored in Mbuya barracks, in the military barracks. Any of you who are familiar, it's around Kiswa Bugolobi area. That's where the barracks is located. So all of that equipment that is supposed to be searching for Bobi Wine or His Excellency Kyagulanyi are stored in that place. The other thing is that because of what's going on with M23 in Congo and Rwanda, and Kagame denying that M23 is from Rwanda, now Kagame says it's from Uganda, Museveni feels like things are closing in on him. And so one of the things that he's trying to do, or he wants to do in the next few days or weeks, is to get rid of Jamil Mukulu. As you know, that Jamil Mukulu had been branded a rebel, and he's in the prisons of, he's in Luzira in Uganda. So people who are involved in this plan are Frank Baine, Byabashaija, and Museveni. They plan to kill Jamil Mukulu in prison because they believe that if he's caught and he has to talk, he will have a lot to say that will incriminate Museveni and his regime. Museveni and Kagame right now are in the same boat. Everything that links Kagame, for example, the treaty that they made with Congo between Tshisekedi and Kagame in front of the President Trump of the United States, that has fallen through because Kagame lied and Kagame fooled. He thought he fooled the United States. And so it has been tracked down to the fact that M23 is indeed sponsored by Kagame. But recently, or Rwanda, but recently, due to investigations here and there, they've also figured out that Kagame is also linked to Museveni. So then Kagame went and spoke and said, you know what, I misspoke. M23 is actually a rebel group from Uganda. So in efforts to, you know, take off the blame, Kagame is incriminating Museveni and has already incriminated Museveni. And so Museveni lives knowing that even if they attack Kagame, he knows that it's coming for him. He knows that somehow he has been implicated. And so it is just a matter of time before all of this gets on him. So they want to get rid of Jamil Mukulu. He was arrested in 2024 as a rebel group, remember, as part of, I believe, Congo or something like that. But he has been in custody in the prisons in Uganda for a while. So Jamil Mukulu, anybody who knows him, he's on target. He's supposed to be, according to orders from Museveni, arrangements with Byabashaija and Frank Baine, they want to get rid of Jamil Mukulu while in prison in Luzira because they're afraid of him speaking. The other thing, this is funny, but it's true. So, you know how Museveni has been buying off a lot of political prisoners here and there? No, not political prisoners. Opposition like Noop and all those people to try to get them to work with him. Recently, we found out that in as much as he calls them and tries to buy them to get them on his side, you know how they promised them a lot of money, millions of dollars, of shillings, billions of shillings here and there. Museveni has figured out how to keep them on a leash, to continue doing what he has asked them to do, but he's not relinquishing that money to them. So apparently what he's doing with the opposition is when he calls them to, like the Nsibambis, when he calls them to go and meet with him and he promises them a lot of money, what Museveni then does is after the meeting and the agreements and they've signed MOUs and all these things, agreeing to work with him or work for him, Museveni then asks them how much they want and where they want to take it. And because this money is bulky, sometimes they can't just take it in cash to wherever they want to take it because sometimes Museveni has access to a lot of cash. So even if they do give him cash to take home, they're asked to be escorted by guards. So Museveni will give them some guards to take them home. And as they go, or when they go to the banks to go and keep that money, Museveni will send them with an escort who knows how much or which bank they're going to. So when they, let's say, well, what was this recent gentleman? So let's say somebody goes to Museveni to go get some cash and they've agreed, they've signed MOUs. He sends them with a guard with the money that he has given them to go and deposit in a bank. So every bank is code numbered or code named by the Museveni people. So they'll send him with the security to try to get that money to the bank. When they get to the bank, this code is communicated back to Museveni to say, this person has brought the money and has deposited it in this bank. So what he does is he communicates with those bank officials not to release those funds to them until he says so. So imagine you take cash to a bank, but you don't have access to actual liquid cash. Museveni has become a mafia among these people. They go in, they take their money, they take it to the bank it in their accounts where they usually go and exchange cash or money however they wish. This money becomes held up in that place, and their salaries go in there. So, for example, the MPs who work with Museveni, who already have established banking services with a certain institution, when they go to withdraw that money, they can't withdraw anything. All the bankers will say, go back and talk to whoever has sent you, or your account is frozen. So, despite the fact that Museveni has already met with them, they've signed, and they're working for Museveni, they don't have access to those funds, plus their salaries are also increasingly frozen. So all of these MPs, NUP or opposition MPs who work for Museveni, they are working on empty because all the money is frozen and only Museveni can release those funds. So imagine, you know, after all that they're doing, and they can't say no, and because they hope to get that money, they can't stop working for him. They can't say no. The other day, Walusimbi was ordered by Museveni to show up and change to NRM immediately. Without saying any arguments, he went and did it anyway, because he has them on a leash now. They expect to get this money. The money is held up, and Museveni is going to hold this likely past swearing in, which means these people have to show up to swear in. By all means, they are going to come and stand beside Museveni, hoping to get the money, or by MOU, and they know what Museveni is capable of. So when you see our brothers and sisters in the opposition who have started working for Museveni, they're not having it easy. Their funds are frozen, personal funds, plus what Museveni promised them. So, you know, good luck to you people for being traitors, because we're in the same boat, basically, except you have allegiance to somebody who will not make you sleep. Okay. Next, ammunitions. Museveni is worried that something is going to attack him. He has been very concerned that as much as they're emphasizing Rwanda, he knows that he is next, or he's being lured by all these attempts on Kagame, but they really want him. So, like they say, when you beat a dog, you're looking for the owner. You're waiting for who is going to come and say, hey, I'm the owner of this dog. So basically, whatever they're doing to Kagame, Museveni knows that they're looking for him, because he has all ties to everything Kagame is doing. Museveni is no different, and the world knows it already. So what Museveni has been doing, he has decided to move all ammunitions from Amras in Uganda, all the Amras where ammunition was stored, especially in the Nakasongola area. He has decided to move everything from those locations because he doesn't trust the UPDF anymore. He doesn't trust the army, even his SFCs, because he believes that anything could happen now. Anyone can be used. Anyone can try to distance themselves from him. Anyone can cause him trouble. So he has built a lot of houses, or bought some, around Kampala and within the cities. He has decided to empty all of the Amras and bring all of the ammunitions into those different homes. And he has taken SFC soldiers away from barracks and has plotted them in the neighborhood so that they can secure or watch over those ammunition. So in the last, I think, a day or so, this has come a little bit late on my part. So a few days ago, some people witnessed load shedding or power shut off along the Nakasongola highway coming from the barracks over there, because Museveni shut down power from 8 p.m. because he was moving weapons from the armories to the buildings where he wants to secure them. So many of you those who have lived in those areas, you can tell that there's been power shutoffs consistently from 8 p.m. until morning, purposely because he wants to, in the darkness, move those ammunition and weapons to new locations because he doesn't trust anyone. They've brought in a lot of military, obviously from Rwanda, because they know what's coming at them. And so they feel like they need to protect themselves with people who trust them or people who care about them. So a lot of those ammunitions have been moved into new homes. If you see new builds in your area or buildings, it is because they're trying to shift or move over their security or ammunitions because they believe once they're attacked, they need to have defense from people who care about them. So you will notice a lot of new people in the neighborhoods. They look different, they walk different. Those are SFCs who have been deployed to be around and protect and watch over those ammunitions, because he's afraid that if the military turn on him, they'll use it on him. Okay. Next here, only top commanders actually know about those weapons, the ones that are being moved around, because he's preparing to spread a whole lot of the battalions away from the military barracks into local communities where he can control. Okay. Buganda region. This is a new one. So the Rwandese community has designated Buganda region as their gain. As you might know, you might have heard that in the place in Rwanda where the memorial or the memorial location where the genocide victims are inscribed on rocks and things like that, the tourist area where the people who go to visit people who suffered or lost their lives during the genocide in Rwanda, has an inscription where the Kagame people have linked the loss of lives during the genocide to Baganda in Uganda. Strangely so. You know very well that it's impossible that Ugandans went and attacked Rwandese during the Tutsi and Hutu war in Rwanda, which eventually brought Kagame into power. That 1994-1993 genocide, that was executed amongst themselves. But apparently in the inscription on the rock that is the foundation rock of the memoriam in that location, there is an inscription that says, these people, or in memory of those who lost their lives, and this war that was caused by the Baganda from Uganda. It is very strange. It is not true. But I understand that these Rwandese people, especially the ones that are causing a lot of instability in Rwanda, the Kagame people, are teaching their children or sharing with people of Rwandan descent, of those enemy descent, that the people that killed or caused the genocide in Rwanda were Ugandans and they were Baganda. That is not true. So in essence, they've poisoned some people's minds. And that's why you see when these Rwandese people are attacking or hitting or beating Ugandans, they do it mercilessly, because they have that bad seed that was sown in them, saying that Ugandans or Baganda are the ones who killed them during the genocide. So be watchful of that. And so in essence, what they're resorting to do now, okay, is that they are trying to take back Buganda, to take away Buganda, to make it part of Rwandese gain. How are they doing that? Museveni has mobilized a lot of money from abroad to buy Buganda land. Therefore, any Muganda who is going to be able to sell land, and whatever price you ask, they are going to buy it off your hands. The reason why they're buying this land is so that they can take over Buganda region. So my advice, or the advice given to the Baganda community or people living in Buganda, I know that Buganda is richly and generously for everyone. All Ugandans are welcome in Buganda. I grew up in Buganda and I know what that means. You have welcomed everyone from every region. Anybody who has property in that region, please do not sell. Because the reason you're going to be selling is you are selling your soul and everyone who is in your lineage to these Rwandese people. They are coming to take over, not to just buy and settle like good neighbors, like other people have done. So be mindful, be watchful. anybody who asks for any amount is going to be given that amount, because the Rwandese want to take over that land. And anyone who refuses will be eliminated. Okay? So they have devoted, and they are devout to apply this to try to take over Buganda by all means. Okay? So stand firm and don't sell your land, because they're going to pay whatever price you ask, but don't sell your land. Change is coming, and we will settle freely and happily in our land. Okay? Next is Muhoozi is bringing a new law in Kampala, in Uganda, where he says that people living in Kampala, or businesses existing within Kampala, in the capital, in the city area, they're going to require that you build only flats or storied buildings, like 2, 3, 4-storied buildings only. And if you can't afford that, you should get out of the city. Okay? So this is another way they're going to manipulate people who can't afford, or people who are established. You know, you don't have to build according to what they want. You should build according to what you can afford. But they're going to try to get people out of the city if you can't build more than 2 floors. If not, they'll offer you money and pay you off to leave the land or property. And if you are not able to relinquish, they will try to eliminate you. This is also going to be linked to any buildings that are in or around the city limits, within roadsides or cities where a lot of businesses operate. They're going to require you to pay a special tax, and that is to their benefit. So basically, they're trying to impoverish people who are existing in business activity, doing well, excelling, or struggling somewhat, but have something to do in the city, because they want to take Buganda, especially the capital, metropolitan Kampala area, to become a Rwandese gain. Like they said, the project is called Buganda is our gain. Buganda is our gain. So be watchful of that. Museveni invited all TikTokers and YouTubers. Yesterday you saw him. He met with them. Okay. He has given them money to build studios, and is also going to give them a license to operate. These YouTubers and TikTokers are going to be given instructions on what they'll be speaking about, or areas of concentration, such as his swearing-in ceremony, which he wants to make really big. The speakership race, that's also something that these YouTubers, you saw the Kasukus at State House and a few others. Unfortunately, our youth still some of our youth still don't know who they are or what they are. You know, it is sad to watch that a foreigner who is not Ugandan is giving us a piece of Uganda, and the Kasukus don't realize that they can gain all these things on their own. So I listened to one of the young men who was in the audience and spoke to Museveni, who said that he had a degree in, is it mechanical engineering or something like that, but he has now become a YouTuber, and he has to be bought by pennies here and there just to make him feel valid. You know, I wish we knew who we are so we could fight for what we have or what belongs to us rightfully. So Museveni is going to be using these people a lot to try to get, obviously, media attention away from His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. That's his biggest idea. His biggest challenge has been diverting the media to talk about something else, or social media to talk about something else other than His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. But all in vain, because in as much as these people can go and meet with Museveni and talk to him about whatever he wants of interest at that time, I think Ugandans are awake enough that they will not, they can't defy what their heart is telling them or wanting. Okay, so I have faith that even if they go and, you know, he's convincing them to do this, that, or the other, most of us, most Ugandans, most youth, oh, Katongole, yes, I think he said medical engineer, mechanical, is it biomedical engineering? That was a really sad truth that I heard from this one of the gentlemen who went to visit Museveni with the Kasukus. You know, it is absurd, but sometimes we learn the hard way. So, you know, we'll see how far that goes. But in efforts, we're going to continue fighting to try to get our Uganda back from these people. Okay. So these TikTokers went and they were promised 5 billion shillings. Museveni promised to give them, but as I mentioned earlier, when Museveni gives these people this money, even if he promises, those funds do not get disbursed unless Museveni says so. Many of them are working for free. There are people who I know who were promised by Museveni to get a lot of money, and it's been years that they haven't gotten it. So no matter what they do, this is, you know, these are just promises, and it doesn't mean that it's going to change their lives. These people are also going to be given different projects. Like I said, they're going to be covering the speakership race, the swearing in of Museveni, and they're going to be demeaning NUP and all of its party activities. You know, as you know, Museveni's biggest job right now is to try to make Bobi Wine look less valuable before us, which is impossible, almost impossible to do, but he's trying. Good luck to him. Next, Museveni, Muhoozi Damulira approached people who own bonds for vehicles around Uganda, Kampala area especially. Jinja also has some bonds. Those people were approached by the Museveni and the NRMs because he needed those vehicles to be used during the election period. Many of the bond owners agreed to give them the vehicles. However, they were supposed to pay those people and also eventually, after the campaigns ended, return those vehicles. Museveni now can't afford anything in Uganda. He can't afford to live because his government is very broke. So they haven't paid these people a dime. And they have also refused to return those vehicles. When they got those vehicles, if you remember some of the vehicles that were trailing His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu on the campaign trail, most of those vehicles had no number plates. And not because they didn't have any, it was because there were new vehicles that were still in the bond, not yet released to be used or sold as they should have. So they took those vehicles and used them and have refused to pay the fees that were due, that should have been paid. Plus, they've also refused to return the vehicles. So what he's now going to do, because the vehicles are still being used for patrol in the local communities, somebody shared a news piece where Minister Echweru, I think his name is Echweru, he talked about vehicles having to leave the city areas and be, you know, move up to other districts and all of that. They're trying now to clear the streets of those vehicles, and so those owners of those vehicles are not going to get them back. Okay? There are no solutions. They've tried to talk to Salim Saleh and everybody else to try to get that money back, but none of that is coming back to them. They also promised to give them tax holidays on those vehicles or new imports, but obviously, as a mafia government, you know, nothing really, as you agree upon, does exist or happen with Museveni. The next thing I have is Nzeija Chiriowa Chiwanuka have been asked to draft some charges in the judiciary because Museveni wants to come back in the hearts of Ugandans. He wants them to draft some laws that look like the judiciary is favoring Ugandans so that they begin to like Museveni again. You're going to see a lot of that coming back. Because a lot of people have lost faith in the Museveni government and the judiciary especially. He wants the courts to seem legitimate again, and the courts are going to bring back super sugar coated new laws or proceedings or activities to look like they support people and not the government. But as you know, Chiriowa Chiwanuka, the Attorney General, works for Museveni. Nzeija, the Chief Justice, is Museveni's relative. He's also a Rwandese. He was sworn in on Museveni's compound, in his yard at home. So all of these attributes point to the fact that the judiciary, no matter what they change, are not in favor of Ugandans, and they've never been. There's nothing that Museveni does that is in favor of Ugandans as a people. Everything that he does is in favor of his Rwandese people and his existence. Nothing good for Ugandans. So my advice to you, when you see all these happening, just be careful, because it doesn't mean that it is happening for sure. It's not in favor of Ugandans at all. Okay? Oh, the big elephant in the room. Iran. Iran. The war in Iran has shaken Museveni more than anything else, if anything has ever shaken this man. Museveni knows that between him and Ayatollah, the former president of Iran, he was next in line. Ayatollah died, I believe, at about 86 years old. And Museveni claims he's 83 years old, although I believe he's older than that. But let's give him 83 or whatever he calls himself. When the attacks began on Iraq, Museveni was on the phone constantly trying to find out if for sure the supreme leader of Iran had been killed. He kept calling China and Putin to find out if it's true. And he thought that the war would last at least 6 months to a year, so that it takes the media or attention away from him. Because as you know, Bobby Wine is in the EU, he's in the US, he's in, he's everywhere. He's on media, all kinds of media, international stage. It's all about His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and sanctions and this, that, and the other. So Museveni was hoping that this war would last at least 6 months to a year. But to his surprise, China and Russia both confirmed that the supreme leader of Iran, had been killed in the strikes. So he was also disappointed that Russia and China did not swoop in to help, because he thought that since they all have a pact or have a relationship or similar way of ruling, that his two friends would come in, Russia and China, to try to rescue Iran. But that did not happen. So Museveni and his family, they regret heavily having not changed government or changed presidents, even if he could have given his something of a son or a different person, maybe Mao or whatever the case may be. They deeply regret having not changed governance, because they believe if they had changed the president of Uganda and they were still working underneath, things wouldn't be as bad as they are now. But it's too late, and Museveni knows his time is up and it's time to go. He has also said that if ever, which he knows, he says that he's next after Ayatollah. He says that if the US turns their ammunitions towards him, they could clear him and his family in about a minute. So he has called all the leaders, all of the Rwandese movements all over the world, all of them, and informed them that he's terrified and that things are not looking good in Uganda, and they need to start looking for solutions and other avenues, because he cannot foresee them surviving this one after Ayatollah was taken out this way. He does not sleep at night. In fact, he has his jet pilots. His jet pilots sleep in the jets these days, in airplanes, because he knows anytime he's next. And as good as the US was able to target the president of Iran, or the supreme leader of Iran, he's sure that he's constantly being surveilled by whoever is going to attack him next, which he actually believes he's next in line, which is true, because among the dictators and everything that's happening all over the world, it looks like it's time for a big shakeup, for things to change. So he's worried about that. Despite his doctors telling him to relax and not be tense and worried, he's definitely worried, and his health is getting worse. He has also debated relaxing the policies that harden Ugandans' lives. For example, the policies that he has enacted with the Damuliras and the people of the ghetto, who are the ghetto groups that are being used by the Damuliras to cause insecurity in Kampala. He has asked them to stand down and do less, to try to not keep Ugandans on constantly hating them or hating him. So he wants them to reduce on the pressure on Ugandans, hoping that things don't escalate or make things worse for him. Museveni hopes that he can still get back in the hearts of Ugandans like they used to love him. But I think those days are gone, honestly. I believe those days are gone. Next thing, Museveni plans on giving himself a really big award because he's looking for legitimacy. He wants to look right. So what he's planning to do is he wants to stage an awards ceremony somewhere outside of Uganda in another country where he will invite different country leaders or presidents to go to that country and watch him receive this award that he's going to give himself. Okay? So it's funny. Museveni is going to get an awards ceremony together, organized by him, for him, given to him by somebody in a foreign country, because he wants a photo op, an opportunity where he will be awarded he'll be awarded something to show his military strength or contribution or peace management in the region. Okay? You know how the US and other foreign countries used to celebrate Museveni so much for peacekeeping in Somalia, in the Central Africa, in Congo, and all these areas, not knowing that Museveni himself was the causer of all these atrocities. So now it's time for him to continue his fake legitimacy. This time he's going to host, he's going to send invitations to different presidents or different leaders of different countries to come to a certain country in in Africa. I'm not saying East, it could be anywhere. He's going to invite people to this function, presidents, so that they come and witness him giving himself, somebody will give him the award, but it's to him giving himself an award for being a peacekeeper in the region. Crazy, but true. Only because he wants other presidents to recognize him as the president of Uganda or the president-elect of Uganda. You must remember that many, many different dignitaries and presidents are distancing themselves from Museveni because of fear of being associated by what Museveni is being called now, which is the truth: a dictator, a human rights violator, and all those things. So he's afraid of that, and so he wants to award himself something like that and have the media shifted from His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu to Museveni of Uganda. Okay? Crazy, but okay. He wants a photo with different presidents and dignitaries of other countries so that he looks right, like he is being supported. Okay? Muhoozi is, as you might know, his reputation in his family is not that great, obviously because of the tweets and how he's behaved recently. Not recently, always. So none of them is willing to recognize or try to attempt to get him to be president as they had planned originally. So they're trying to front Natasha. I don't know if anybody might have seen a post that came out yesterday where there's a picture of Natasha on a poster which says that woman president for the first time in Uganda, something like that. It is because they're trying to front Natasha now instead, because Muhoozi has muddied the waters, especially internationally, with his tweets and his communications and his accepting or admitting to certain crimes, like saying statements like, we've only killed 22 of the opposition people, we would like to do more, and statements like that, and wanting to behead Bobby Wine. You know, things like that become a admission of crime or guilt in the international community, especially when he's trying to fit into his father's shoes. So we won't be seeing Muhoozi for a while also, because I will come back later. I have something else to talk about that, but he's out of the public eye because of something personal that I will be talking about in a few minutes here. Continuing with the Iran war, or the recent happenings in Iran, Museveni has called presidents of Sudan, Rwanda, Kenya, and Tanzania to talk with them about oil prices. So because Iran is at war, Iran has a lot of oil, or is connected with different countries with regards to oil. I won't speak into details about that because I can't really say the particular countries right now. But general knowledge is that the Middle East has tons of oil. And so usually when they have the instability, oil prices are affected somewhat in different locations where they do send that oil. So Museveni, because he's so broke, the government really has no money, because Museveni depended on foreign income or foreign aid a lot. Since the time President Trump cut aid to Uganda, the LGBT aid and US aid and all the other aids that were coming to Uganda, plus all the concocted reasons Museveni was getting aid or getting loans from places or banks like the IMF, International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank. But with a bad name now, he can't get those monies. So Museveni is broke. He doesn't know, he has no idea how he's going to run the government. Mind you, they're stashing away money for their future because they know that their future may not be in Uganda. So he has called the presidents of Sudan, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania. The reason why Sudan is called is because Museveni literally runs the government of Sudan. Okay? Salva Kiir is there not because he's a good president or can manage the affairs of Sudan. Museveni does control Sudan. I learned something today, that there is a tunnel that has been dug at Karuma Falls, goes through Karuma area all the way to Sudan. And that tunnel is to bring in Sudan oil imports and things that he doesn't want to bring on the road into Uganda. So this goes to show you why the president of Sudan is still there and stands there, and Ugandan military guard Sudan and the activities and affairs of Sudan. I understand the entourage of the president or the bodyguards of President Salva Kiir, some of them are Ugandan and Rwandese, obviously because of the benefits like these. So that tunnel is from Karuma or Uganda all the way to Sudan, and that's how they get the oil from Sudan into Uganda. So we have lots of oil reserves. There's lots of oil in Uganda. Amoro has a lot of oil. Bunyoro has tons of oil. Apa has a lot of oil. So the efforts to try to cause oil prices to rise, which is the agreement that Museveni has made with the Sudanese, Rwandese, Kenyan, Tanzanian presidents, is that they all increase oil prices at once, with a claim that the war in Iran is causing that price hike. But it doesn't make sense because Uganda does not get oil from Iran. Okay? We have enough oil in the region that we don't need oil from Iran, that even if there are interruptions in Iran, it should not affect Uganda as a country or the East African region, because there's enough oil in those regions. If anything, we have reserves enough. But Museveni wants to raise prices, so you will see oil prices go up or spike up in Uganda within the next few days. Something came up in the media last night about oil prices, something about the government is going to try to keep oil prices down. However, there's a war in Iran that may cause oil prices to go up. The reason why he says things like that is because he wants your mind to start getting used to a possibility that oil prices will go up. Despite the media saying that the government is going to try to keep it low, it is only preparing you for what's coming next, because they will put up prices for oil in all these countries, hoping to get and collect more money. Anywhere that Museveni can get money, he's doing it, including doing away with human beings in Uganda. He's not afraid to do that. Okay? So Ruto has agreed with him, and in the next few days, they will increase prices in lieu of the Iran war. My next discussion is about Anita Among, Speaker of Parliament. He's in the toughest place possible. It is confirmed by the sources that are very close to the regime, Museveni's regime, that Anita Among was poisoned. It may take a while, but many of you noticed how Kadaga just all of a sudden started getting the way she, the way her body just dwindled somewhat. It is the type of thing that is the new warfare by Museveni's regime. They are no longer going to shoot people anyhow. They're just going to do things like this. Poisoning people is going to be the biggest weapon they will use. Okay? So it was confirmed that she did fall prey of that and will definitely lose the speakership of Uganda. Museveni wants her either assassinated or in an accident that will be set up if the poison doesn't take effect right away. Museveni feels like Anita no longer helps him or helps his government. Anita is also, her hands are quite dirty because of the sanctions that have happened in the Western world. Plus, Museveni wants somebody to be punished this time. He's trying to look legitimate. He wants the courts to look legitimate. So in the efforts of cleaning up and trying to look legitimate, he's going to nail some of these big people in government by arrests, accusations, and also incriminations, because people like Anita Among already have a history. And there's no person who works for Museveni without him having a file of something wrong that they've done. So I'm sure he dangles that file over Anita Among, as much as he wishes, until it's time for him to just clamp on her, and they'll have enough evidence to pull and get her all squared away. So Museveni, if Anita survives, she's not getting the speakership. He's going to eliminate her somehow, because if not her becoming a local Ugandan without a job or in prison, Museveni fears for people to start talking. So anyone that he has used, he's going to eliminate somehow. Just like he has eliminated the 2 leaders or 3 leaders of the M23 rebel group, which is his rebel group. He's also eliminating people from within. So Anita Among is a big target because he doesn't want them to talk. And also he's not going to have her as speaker because she makes a bad name for his government. She's not going to be respected. And so Museveni is done with her. Museveni has asked Chiwanuka, Attorney General, Karujire, Kalimani, who is the lawyer, and also Bijirimana, who is the permanent secretary of the judiciaries. He has asked them to gather evidence on crimes committed by officials in high offices, which includes people like the Anita Among, some MPs, some ministers. Museveni is trying to look like he's cleaning up, so he wants to show the world. If not, he wants to show Ugandans that he's trying to clean up, the bad characters that are in his government. So he has asked these people to gather files that pertain to people like the Anita Amongs or MPs who have taken bribe, anybody who is seen as doing harm to the public eye, so that he can arrest them and make a good name. He would like to see if Anita survives, that she gets in prison. I'm telling you this not because I have anything against Anita Among as a person. I don't. I'm just telling you what the regime is planning for her. So maybe you let her know or whatever. She may despise what we're saying, but so far, everything that has been said has truly happened. So I believe that this is what they're going to do, and this is what they're trying to do. Okay? Among's file has already been compiled because, as you know, she has been in the media a lot about giving bribes in parliament, the Mpuga incident where that money went in the commissions, the reason why she got sanctioned. She already has a lot of files, but they're still going to work on several other different MPs and ministers and try to phase them out as Museveni works on legitimacy and looking proper amongst Ugandans, hopefully to renew his good name if he does have any. Okay. The next thing, the Iran war, next again. Museveni has begged Putin and Xi Jinping of China to spy on the U.S. and try to figure out what their next mission is and who is next in line. He knows that he's next, but he wants to be alerted as soon as it is made mention of. So he's asked the Russian president and the president of China to keep their spy networks open, to keep looking, keep an eye out, and let him know as soon as it's declared that he's likely next in target. So he's been begging them. He calls them almost every day to find out what next and what